Well, let's welcome to the show Congressman Jeff Van Drew of House Homeland Security. Congressman, look, I just want to start with your reaction. That video to me is horrific, it's shocking, but it's also very telling. How do you read it?
Exactly what you said. And let's, it is frightening and it is terrible and it's awful and should never be allowed. But what do we expect? We shouldn't be surprised. We have judges that really don't believe in the rule of law. We have prosecutors that don't prosecute. We have police that aren't given what they need to be able to have the ability to arrest these people and take care of the job. Where the number of police are going down because nobody wants to be a police officer anymore. Because you know what they know? Do you know what those 100 people know when they blocked off the street and when they went in there into that 7-Eleven? They know that maybe the police, not maybe, definitely the police are doing their job. They want to stop all this. They know when they go to court, they're just going to be released. We release people with 10 and 20 and 30 priors, people that have committed violent crimes. We've got to, and there's an answer to all of this. It's not complicated. This is, literally what I would call woke justice, and I'm tired of it, and people are tired of it.
On that point, so those 100 folks, later that day, if they were paying attention, would have saw that George Gascon, the liberal DA in Los Angeles, kept his job, okay? They ransacked the store, and the guy promoting the policies that keeps them on the street keeps his job. And it's like these cities don't understand the relationship between those two things, Congressman. You say it's simple, and I agree in one sense, but where's the change? When is the change going to happen in these places?
The people have to demand the change. Wherever you live or wherever you are, whatever race, color, or creed, nobody wants this. People want to be safe. And I say it's simple because what does it require? It requires closing our borders. It requires having good judges put in place. It requires real prosecutors. It requires stop and frisk again. It requires 3 times and you're out. It requires when you have violent priors that you maybe will be in jail for many years or maybe for the rest of your life. It's just law and order, and that's what I mean by it's simple. And people can't allow this to happen. It's the wrong thing. I wonder if George Gascon would like to have been the 7-Eleven employee that had this, who just saw all this, for God's sake, didn't know if he was going to live or die or what would happen to him. I think George Gascon ought to get on the streets and parole the streets himself and see what's really going on in America.
I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about the border crisis. Very interesting information today. 2 more buses of migrants arrived in New York from Texas, New York City, as Governor Abbott and Mayor Eric Adams battle over the immigration issue. The New York City Department of Education today announcing Project Open Arms, a plan to meet educational needs of asylum-seeking families. They're going to enroll 1,000 migrant children, Congressman. I look at that system and all the problems that system has had. I think about the influx of migrant children who are going to have complex and different needs, obviously, than most children growing up in New York City. I mean, just from a language barrier perspective to start, how much can our systems, Congressman, handle what's happening at the border? Not just education, but you're talking about health care, you're talking about criminal justice. These systems, Congressman, are going to be overwhelmed, are they not?
They are. Let's think about how many people are coming over. Millions. And in fact, I did some numbers before. Literally, if the number of people that have come over since the Biden administration, if we made a state out of those people, the number that is there would be the 30th largest state in America. So what do people want? The people that are pushing these policies, they want to change America. They don't want America to survive. We can only absorb so much, and this is too much, and it's going to harm everyone from the students that are there traditionally who are legal residents. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost more in taxes. It's going to diminish the nation. It's going to bring even more drugs in, because what's happening through the border is not only all the things you mentioned, which is disease and COVID and human trafficking, but it's also going to create the problem that we see already when we know that people are coming into the border and bringing fentanyl, and they're getting it from China. So China is loading up our country. We are killing our children and our grandchildren with this fentanyl. We've got to straighten up, get tougher, and really obey the rule of law.
The issues are multifaceted, and they don't just go to institutions like education. You're absolutely right. They go to the drug trade and the harm that's causing. We've got to leave it there, Congressman. Thanks for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, the FBI raid